Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the daily live extra, the last daily live extra on YouTube. It will be going on Patreon tomorrow.
Back in the summer.
Exclusively. It'll be back in the summer. Be back in August. Yeah. So the window is shut. It's slammed shut at 11 o'clock. Doosh! But there was a little crack open just to allow Dele Alli to slip through.
And Billy Crowell.
Oh, whatever.
You can't forget Billy.
I've forgotten Billy. So obviously, window is now shut. New manager, new players, new coaching staff, some new coaching staff, and we can move forward.
We can. Just on Billy Crowell.
Okay.
John Crowell, who is our patron, one of our patrons.
Yeah.
Billy's his nephew.
Billy's amazing. Billy is an amazing player.
John says, Billy Crowell, my nephew, an Evertonian since the day he was born, very proud. Obviously signed late last night, going into the under-23s. Big Evertonian.
Boss.
Being on loan at Bolton, being a Fleetwood Town. So good and good luck to him, and hopefully he develops over the next few years and gets to push Jordan Pickford. Or becomes Everton number one.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That'd be good to have. It'd be lovely to have an Evertonian as Everton's goalie. But anyway, congratulations, John, to you and your family, and to Billy, of course.
Lovely.
But yeah, the window's shut. Dele Alli, we'd hung on late last night, didn't we? For it to be announced.
We've gone as far as we could.
But we knew, we heard it wasn't going to be announced till after midnight, and we weren't staying, so we got off. But the deal was done, despite Newcastle trying to do a little bit of jiggery pokery late on. We got Dele Alli through the door as well. And overall, when you look at it, you know, as far as deadline days go, it was quite eventful for Everton. A new manager, coaching staff, and 3 players through the door.
Exciting.
The busiest deadline day probably ever. And when you throw in Vitaly Michalenko and you throw in Nathan Patterson and Anwar El Ghazi into that, this January transfer window has been, I'd say, very successful for Everton. It hasn't been perfect. A centre-back and a defensive midfielder would have made it a fantastic window. But I think overall, it's been a better window. I think, to be honest, it's been a better window than many of us thought it would be. Yeah. Given how we finished it with the manager and different things like that.
Yeah.
Mainly the manager.
It's positive, isn't it? No, it just feels more positive, I suppose. It just feels more positive than it was even last week, you know. So it feels positive, and we've got players in, and they are good players as well. Obviously, someone like Dele Alli trying to relaunch or restart his career, which has had a real wobble in the last couple of years. We were talking about it before. We were saying, like, you know, when we played Spurs December 2018 and they beat us 6-2, he was phenomenal. He was. Scored a phenomenal goal at the Gladys Street. And just, you know, when Spurs went to the Champions League final, where I think a lot of that team sort of peaked. Yeah, that was and Pochettino,
including the manager.
Yeah, peaked a little bit for them as well, and they hadn't started bringing new players, and it almost felt like for that. Well, it's more than felt for that side. That's as far as it was going to go, and I think Dele Alli sort of got caught up in that. Huge, you know, become a big name, big player for England as well. And then when Mourinho came in, you see it on the Tottenham documentary, first day, he's called them out. He said, "You're lazy, you're not improving." And to be fair, he's right. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, Mourinho was spot on." If he wasn't working hard enough, and he hasn't been working hard enough. He's been coasting, and that now hopefully needs to be something he realises, and, you know, fresh start at Everton. And it might be the best for everybody, and hopefully we see the best out of him, and Frank Lampard gets the best out of him, and he can get back, try and get the footballers in there, the players in there. You don't become a bad player, you just become a lazy player. You forget the stuff of what made you great. We see it with a lot of players. They come up to that sort of 24, 25 age, and that dictates what's going to happen for the rest of their career. And he just fell off a cliff, and we've got to try and recapture that and hope that everything works out, and you know, so
it's. I mean, in terms of Dele Alli, it's relatively low risk, though.
Yeah,
really. I mean, you know, there's no payment this year. even if he plays every single Premier League game, doesn't hit the marker. So, excuse me, straight away we're on to next year's budget before we have to pay anything for him. It can rise to 37 million euros, I think it is. Sky are reporting 40, it's not 40.
They've just rounded up.
But that would be, if that happens, Everton are unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all bells and whistles,
he's been amazing. So therefore, I've got no issue with that, none whatsoever. We've been done by silly transfer fees in the past. But you're absolutely right. If it's about getting him back to where he was. We've got him, and we've got him on those terms because he's been terrible for a couple of years. But he's 25, he's 26 in April. He's coming into peak. When he was on it, he was very difficult player to mark. Yeah. He was We've said this before, very much like Kale, in terms of them players are invaluable. Lampard was one himself, ghost into the box and scoring goals in those areas. And Everton, I said yesterday, Dominic Calvert-Lewin especially hasn't had anybody prepared to run past them from that area. And if Everton could get Dele Alli upwardly mobile and going again, and sometimes it does take a fresh, to go to somewhere new and know that. Listen, it's a World Cup year. Yeah. He's 25. Yeah. England, I don't think England have got anyone quite like him. They've got other really good players, don't get me wrong, and really good midfielders. Mason Mount's brilliant and people like that. But there's nobody like him. Last World Cup, saying to you before, he scored the winner in the quarter-final. Put England in the semi-final of a World Cup. So, he's been there and done it really for England, and if he can get himself, that should be a filler for him to try to get himself back in that squad for the World Cup in November. And who better to learn off than a fella who was fantastic at arriving late in the box and scoring important goals. And Ali's proved it. The goal at Palace for Tottenham, the flick over his head and the volley, and there's been many moments he scored against Everton a few times, and if we can get him back to anywhere near that level, then we've pulled off an incredible piece of business. And we're also getting a player who, when he is going well, scores goals from midfield. And with this team, we've said millions of times, this team doesn't have enough goals in it. So, I'm cautiously optimistic with him. I think had we paid like 35 million quid up front or something, and big wages to get him and all that, I'd be looking and going, that's a big risk. It's a big risk. But I don't think it is a big risk. Just simply the way the terms have been set out of the deal.
Yeah, it's been done cleverly, hasn't it? He'll be on next year's, obviously his wages, but he'll be on next year's budget for a buy, which is clever, obviously. It makes it almost like it is like a loan, isn't it, for the rest of the season? But no, he's got, he scored 67 goals for Spurs. In his first season got 10, then 22, 14, 7, 9, 3 and 2. So the last 2 years he's dropped off massively. But it's all since really that the season he got to the and it's the amount of games as well. Last year he played 10 games. Season before he played 15 games. 2 seasons before that 25. So when he was first 3 seasons when he was playing over 30 games, he was getting double figures in goals. So he's a 1 and 3. He's 1 and 3 basically. And if we get him in the team and we get him playing, and I think it might have been Paul Merson actually saying something clever for once. But I think he said he's a player you've got to play. You have to play him, and I think that's the thing with Everton. He will play games of football, and it's up to him then. I suppose it's a bit like the Marty Gray, isn't it? It's that thing of like you'll play games and you might have a bad game, but you'll still play because there's no one better than you.
Pochettino did play him. Pochettino, he had the full trust of Pochettino, so he would have times where he wasn't very good. I've seen him playing against Everton. He's been innocuous there. He's done nothing in the game. And then other times in games against us, he's come up with a goal. In fact, I was saying to you before, the Gomez injury that day, he scored their goal. It was a good goal. Went on one and chip, like was dinked it over, didn't he? And you've got players we've got players there who are industrious but don't offer anything in terms of goals and stuff. If you can get him in the team and playing regularly, he'll get goals. And like you've said, he will be allowed to grow. The one thing I would say, that since Pochettino gone, he's had Mourinho, who was very negative, like a Benitez type manager, where he's quite negative the way they play, counter-attacking team. Conte isn't exactly free-flowing, but demands more. And Nuno, I spoke to Flav a couple of times before, when he had Nuno and then when he just got Conte. And he was saying, that the football under Nuno was horrific, so defensive and negative. Dele Alli, even though he's playing, he was like, he's walking around because he doesn't know where he should be because we're playing on a counter-attack. You need him. He needs to play with a freedom. I think Dele Alli, he needs to be able to make those runs into the box. And it'll be interesting to see what Lampard does with him. Because we know that Lampard, he likes either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So in a 4-2-3-1, yes, he can be the number 10. If he wants him to play a little, and he may have to play a little bit deeper to start, it'll be an orthodox box-to-box midfielder. And
well, ultimately, with the two signings that have come in, both of them are quite similar in a style. I know Van der Beek's there's a thing, stuff coming out of Holland that actually could play in a 6. And we'll have to wait and see on that. But they're both, I think for Dele Alli to be wanted by Frank Lampard suggests that Frank Lampard knows exactly where he's going to play in this team.
What he wants to do.
And I think straight away that's important. To manage who is looked at the situation and I know exactly what these need. More goals, someone breaking from midfield into the box so that Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't get isolated. Even if we play long balls, Dom's got someone who we can knock it off to, and then Dele Alli can, pick up the bits or whatever in and around the box.
Things like Damari Gray crossing it, people arriving, while he's arriving in
but
the box.
That's the point, isn't it? And if he's already said that to him, you're going to play. You're going to be a big part of this side for me. You're going to play every game. You're going to be a big part because we're actually going to build the team around you. That's huge. That'd be huge for the player.
I remember you saying a year ago about Dele Alli because he was out.
Yeah.
No, it was when he was.
Was it positive?
No. Remember you saying it was? We were probably talking about the documentary and stuff, but he'd been pushed out the side by Mourinho. And I remember you saying he'd be good to get hold of if he could, but you'd have to build a team around him. You have to make him central to it and go, look, you're key to
I thought that's what West Ham were going to do with him, actually. I think that's what we were talking about at the time. I think that's probably when they got Jesse Lingard. But I think
he'd been linked with West Ham.
He'd been linked with West Ham. And I think that's what we were talking about. We were saying, if you're going to bring him in, you're going to have to build your team around him because he's that kind of player. Yeah. Look at when we brought Cahill in and then we shifted Carsley into the whole midfield and the team was built around him, really. Marcus Bent as a runner.
Gravison dropped back as well, didn't he?
But Marcus Bent as a runner it didn't really matter who played up front, and it all sort of, when we got Beattie in and we had to change the style, it didn't work as well. And we seen that with Jelavic, when Jelavic was playing, and then we brought playing Fellaini put in there. Jelavic's goal started to line up because we built the team around Fellaini more, and that's what happens. So I think if the manager's put his arm around him and said, "Listen, you're going to be instrumental in this team," then that's really important because we don't have anyone like that, and we're always talking about who's going to play in midfield, who's going to be that extra man. I'm dead intrigued to see how he's going to do it. Can Van der Beek, can Dele Alli, and can say Allen or Decore playing a 3 together? Is that too open? I don't know, because I don't know what Van der Beek's other skills are from what I've seen.
But they're going to have to.
No, I know.
Quite simply because we haven't got any other options. Unless Jean-Philippe Gbamin can. And listen, we said yesterday, didn't we, about him? The gauntlet's been thrown down to him. Now, fresh pair of eyes on him. A midfield player. A younger manager. Someone who gives people a chance. Does Gbamin really want it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But even if you thinking, I've had enough here, he really should be getting his head down to get that move in the summer. Because the window's come and gone. He's taking a chance on him. Everton need midfield players. And Everton need Jean-Philippe Gbamin to be decent. Really. Because we haven't got anybody else in that. I think someone said yesterday, this is great, but we're an injury away from having no midfielder who can tackle. So we have got to look at it like that. But you're right, it is going to be dead intriguing because how he's going to line up. But you can only go on the evidence of Chelsea and the evidence of Derby, and Derby did at times play a 4-3-3, and he had Mason Mount as one of his midfielders, and I think it was, I don't know whether it was Lawrence on the other side, but he was an attack.
But it's energy, isn't it? It's about having energy in teams. The best teams don't need a tackle. What they have is players who just press and take the ball off.
People don't tackle anymore.
Yeah, the people who just take the ball off. We saw that. I mean, listen, when we played Liverpool, we saw the best example, and when we played Man City, we saw the best example. These teams don't tackle, like you just said. They just get men around you. They force you into losing the ball.
Yeah.
That tackling's going out of the game.
Do it quickly, and then you're under pressure.
Anyone who plays FIFA knows there's no tackling in it. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard because these teams just force you to give the ball back, and that's what pressing's all about. So, Barcelona are the originators of this version of it, even though, it's been around for years and years. But this version of it, without tackling, is just forcing the opposition, and that means energy. That means having the same amount of midfielders.
What's that? But even in a 2, though, what has been our biggest thing? What we've said this season is that when Rafa Benitez had the team at the start of the season, and he played the 4-2-3-1, Everton actually looked decent at times. On the counter-attack, they looked very good because they had Allen and Decore, and I don't think none of us were really bemoaning the fact we only had 2 midfielders in a double pivot at that time.
Yeah.
It was when we started losing, like when Don went out the side and when Richarlison went out the side, and we had to tinker with it. We then couldn't cope with only 2 midfielders when it was Allen and Gomez or Allen and Dele forward, because they just weren't mobile enough. And it's generally it's like a big red flag when Decore is out the team, because he's the only one who covers the ground quickly. So that's not gone away. But if you're right, if you're starting to put energy everywhere around it, you can play with 2 or 3. If he plays a 4-3-3 and it is Van der Beek and it's Dele Alli and it's Allen for now, because obviously Dukes is going to be out for a couple of weeks at least, isn't he? Another 2 weeks, I imagine. So it's probably going to have to be those 3 right now. If they're all committed to working hard, no one will be bemoaning the fact that we haven't. I mean, you always want your better plays, but no one's going to be going, we haven't got any legs in there, because we will have legs in there. And if the team works together and if the team uses the ball better, then we'll see changes anyway.
Hopefully,
and this is something that he would. I mean, I listened to his interview and it was all about energy, keeping the ball, using the ball better, getting shots in, getting crosses in, being attacking. All of his stuff, all of the stats and history that you do and what he's done so far is all about attacking. Yeah. Yes, there's question marks going the other way. But you look at Liverpool are a miles better version. But Liverpool are primarily about attacking. Yes, they got Van Dijk in and it got better than with Alisson. Yeah. But primarily they were attacking. Manchester City primarily are about scoring more goals than you. They got Diaz in and it all clicked. One company went. Don't forget when he went, they had that period where they were all over the gaff because they were still attacking. They just weren't shutting the back door. You've got to try to, Lampard's got to try to do both. It's going to be difficult, but just by making Everton more offensive, by putting more runners in, by putting people who can put the ball in the net, you're increasing your chances of winning games. We've got to win football games. That's the big thing. So what he's done is he's had a look at that midfield and he's gone, we need a couple of players in who can move around and who can put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. And he's ended up with two quality players. Whether Dele Alli gets back up to, I don't know, but potentially he's there to do it. We said yesterday, I think, a few times, it's a kind of David Moyes signing when he's at Everton. Someone's lost the way. I'll give you a go. Can you recreate it? It's up to him. You just hit the nail perfectly on the head before Damari Gray. Everyone was bemoaning Damari Gray. And why are we getting him? We want Luis Diaz and we want other people, David Neres, Anthony at Ajax. And Gray's come in and been sensational for $1.5 million. So that's what you're looking at, isn't it?
Yeah, we just got to make sure that we probably don't put too much pressure on him and just allow him to get on with it.
Well, this weekend he's not got either of them anyway, has he? In the FA Cup, and
so it's up to the players who were there to get a reaction from them, which mightn't be the worst thing in the world. Got to get a reaction from the players.
Just this Saturday, we've not seen Nathan Patterson yet, other than an under-23 game. Would you throw him in?
Yeah, I think he's got to start. But there's a new manager, so we don't know. But
he likes, if you're going on history and what he plays, he likes his fullbacks.
Yeah. Listen, it depends how they train, because it's a fresh pair of eyes. Nathan Patterson's on to his 5th manager this season. Fifth. Duncan.
Oh, because he had Van Bronckhorst and he had
5th
Gerrard,
manager.
didn't he? Yeah. How's your fat? Only January.
And
White Rabbits, it's February.
And an international manager, 6. So
6 picks.
Lot of
He's that gift at the moment. With all the things going through.
A lot of voices. So it's how he trains this
week.
Like
me last week with COVID.
For us, it's between him and Seamus Coleman and John Joe Kenny, I suppose. So it's whoever trains better this week, isn't it? Hopefully he trains well. Hopefully he's not going to walk in and go, it's not the school trials. He's not going to walk in and not know anybody and go, I'm just going to pick you. You were great. He's going to know a little bit about everyone. He's going to, and I think Nathan Patterson, for me, I'd start him Saturday and see what he's got. And you'll have Seamus, you've got John Joe, you've got
just with the FA Cup. Is it almost it's not a free hit?
No, it's not.
It's a trophy, and if we get through, but into the 5th round, and if you get a decent home draw, then you can start going. Tell you what, get a bit of momentum. But there's much less pressure on this one Saturday than obviously Newcastle on Tuesday night, because we're all panicking over the league. The FA Cup can be something that gives you. We saw it in '95 with Joe. We'll come in and we were bottom of the league, and we were going through the FA Cup run. Funnily enough, we were speaking about it not long ago, weren't we? Saying how terrible we were against Derby County in the 3rd round and Bristol City in the 4th round. We got destroyed and got a win. And no one on that day would have gone, Everton will go on and win this. When we had Players' Cup tied in that, we couldn't play in that.
Thankfully.
Well, exactly. Thankfully. Yeah. There you go. So, Matt Jackson became the hero because Earl Barrett couldn't play and things like that. So, you can't sometimes get a lift with the cup, can't you? It can give you that freedom.
It does give you the freedom. We saw that. I've said that a few times. I know it was a long time ago, but the last time we won a trophy, we were in a similar position. And the FA Cup become the freedom. When we went and played Norwich in the 5th round, beat them 5-0. We destroyed them, and there was a freedom about the team. It was Anders Limpar, who may not have played in a lot of, hadn't played in a lot of league games because the manager was like, we can't really afford to play you, but in the cup we will, and that ended up turning a negative team into a very positive in the next season. And obviously adding Andre Kanchelskis, Limpar on one side, Kanchelskis on the other. There was a balance. It was a great side, a very much a wasted side. But he used the FA Cup as a freedom, and I think he'll be similar on Saturday. And that's, for me, I would definitely start Patterson, because I think he's had that under 23s game. So I don't think it's about quality with him. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday when we were saying, he played in Scotland. He understands the cut and thrust.
Like for Rangers, intensity.
He understands the cut and thrust of playing in British football. Of course, the quality level will be a little bit higher, but he's played with quality players. He's played in training with quality players. He'll have seen the likes of Tierney and Robinson in training and understand what's required to play in the Premier League. And I think Saturday's a good opportunity to get him involved. Listen, I think what he'll lacking maybe a little bit of quality. He will make up for with understanding what it takes to at this level.
And endeavour.
Exactly. And where Michalenko's been a little bit in the first couple of games, just being a little bit off it and not up to speed. I think that'll be such a problem with Patterson. And I've seen him in the 23 game, and I know it's a completely different level. But just if you watch the goal we got, he wins the ball, he turns it around the corner, but then he wants to get up, and he wants to get up the pitch. And I think we can, and if we can see a bit of that, and I think if you look at the alternatives.
Okay, well that leads me on then, because you're talking about Patterson, and I think we both agree. So Michalenko, you just brought him up there. He looked a little bit off it in the two. To be honest, I thought Hull was all right. I thought he started slowly and he got better. Norwich, he didn't have a very good game. Norwich. But then a lot of players, he was part of being crap with everybody else. But the only way he's going to learn is by playing games. And for balance, he's the only left footer in our team, in our squad. Really, who's going to play
and that might be why he gets in.
And so, would you play him on Saturday? Because I would. Because at home, he hasn't played at Goodison. Yeah. So at home with the crowd.
Yerry Mina is available. He's back. He'll be back because he only played one game for Colombia. So that's fine. He played his one game in the week. That's fine. He'll be back. He should be available. You put Ben Godfrey over on that side as well, someone who can cover for the pace.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, there's your back four. I'm not saying it's ideal because you've got two full-backs who aren't adapted. Yeah, but again, it is the FA Cup. Maybe, maybe we can take an odd chance, but...
See, someone like Patterson, you could play him for, say, like 65, 70 minutes at the weekend and have Seamus Sam then coming on last 25, can throw everything into that 20, 25 minutes, can't he? And if he's doing all right, Patterson, and if he's not blowing, then leave him. But if he's starting to tie, you've got the experience of Seamus. He can throw that 90 minutes into 20 minutes.
I think, though, if we have three in midfield, it will massively help those fullbacks. Massively. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably just go with that. Whatever.
So, just overall...
Anyways.
Of course, yeah. And then, obviously, let's a fella who it is, I do feel sorry for him because he has gone massively under the radar because he signed and people are like, what for what reason? But Anwar El Ghazi, this is a lad that I know... The caveat is penalties. We got 10 goals last season for Villa. He shot a great goal at Goodison to win it. Did, if you watch clips of him at Villa, I think their fans are like, when he's on it, he's really good. He's dangerous. He's just hit and miss, like a lot of wingers, I guess. But he could be someone, I guess, in this second half of the season. There's 18 games to go. We again, annoyingly can't play in the cup. These big players getting 3 minutes in games and stuff. But he's a player who, because no one really knows about him in our squad, like X-Factor type player who he could be important for Lampard in terms of coming off the bench or certain games, of having options to try to win. We're going to need to win games of football.
Well, it's a clean slate, isn't it? The manager doesn't come in and go, well, that was the starting 11 last week, so that's the starting 11 this week. The manager's got a chance to come in and have a good look at the squad. We might find that listen, someone like Andrews Townsend might have no games of football coming up. He might look at him and go, you do not fit the way I want to play. But El Ghazi does. Yeah. You Anthony Gordon.
I imagine Townsend will be involved because he's a workhorse, but...
You might want workhorses, you might want talented footballers who can... the workhorses might play in the centre of the park. You might say Townsend's going to be in a 3. But the point being is that it's a clean slate for everyone. There's nothing holding, Lampard to having to play a certain way or with certain players. He has to come in and say, well, how are we going to play? Ultimately, if he's going to play 3 midfield, you want full-backs to be your width.
Yeah.
So you want them to be your width. So then you look at the 2 in front. For all we know, we might play, a 4-3-2-1, and have Richarlison and Dele Alli playing behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Gray and Townsend and El Ghazi and Gordon mightn't get anywhere near the team. You don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You don't know. That's the way. I don't know where he'll get the other 3 midfielders from, but
knowing what he's done and having a look, and I've done a bit of research, and we'll have that on one of the videos we do. But he generally does like to have his fullbacks out the width, and it's a case of keeping a block of 4 back, which are your 2 centre midfielders and your centre backs. Your full-backs are on the outside, and your wide strikers tuck in. So therefore, you're creating overloads, and that wide strikers will be, if it's Gray and Richarlison getting close to Dom, you've got Dele Alli pushing through the middle as well. So there's going to be enough attackers there, but that is a reliance on your full-backs, which is why when you're looking at it. But you're absolutely right, that you've got options. If you're looking at the bench and you've got El Ghazi, Gordon, Townsend, say, or whatever, you're thinking... sometimes it might be Dele Alli on the bench, and you're going, well, maybe get Dele on, or whatever that may be. Because if he's got 3 midfielders, he's brought 2 in. Currently, Decore's injured. Decore's going to come back. For me, Decore's got to play. Yeah. So who comes out then? Does Allen then go to the bench? So Allen's the sub. Is it Dele Alli? Is it Donny van der Beek? Do Everton go 4-4-1-1 and he fits them all in somehow? Or Dele Alli becomes the split striker? And so there's a lot of permutations, I think, and I think that's probably where, for me, there's a little bit of excitement there of seeing something different and a younger manager with fresh ideas.
There's flexibility in there now. I don't think we'll see him play 4-4-1-1. No,
he hasn't really done that.
I don't think we're going to see 4 in midfield ever again.
I don't know. It just depends on what suits it, doesn't it? Depends what it suits.
I don't think these modern coaches like playing forward midfield.
You know what though? The thing
it can be two in the two.
About that, if you play 4-2-2-2, which is which a lot of coaches do, the reason for me why against Villa Duncan's formation didn't quite work was because his two fullbacks didn't. Ben Godfrey runs up the line, he didn't do anything because he's predominantly he's right-footed, so he got no width.
But that's why we've bought the fullbacks.
John Joe Kenny didn't cross the halfway line. So if you played 4-4-2, a version of it, but your fullbacks were Michalenko and Patterson, or if we still had Luca Dean and Patterson, would have been they do your width for you.
That's what I'm saying. That's why now you have width. That's why Liverpool have bought Diaz, because managers don't want wingers who go out the outside anymore. That's where the fullbacks go. They want them coming in. Diaz is perfect for that at Liverpool. So Damari Gray cutting inside and Gordon cutting inside. I think that's where, for me, Townsend is redundant because he likes to go on even on his wrong foot. He likes to go on the outside. He very rarely comes on the inside. So I think that's where he's going to struggle to play wide. He might play in a 3, possibly, but that's what
I think he can play in a 3 because I think he presses really well.
I think Gordon and Damari Gray will suit coming inside, but they both, a lot of the, Gordon doesn't mind coming off the right, and Damari Gray likes coming off the left, so that would work. And then you get your fullbacks and you overload that way, and then you have your extra midfielder pushing through. But like you said, there's options now, and I'll be honest, I'm not arsed. As long as it's the best 11, I don't really care. If it means Richarlison doesn't play, he doesn't play. If it means Gordon doesn't play, or it means Gray doesn't. I mean, it can Gordon be unfortunate, but Gray, I'll be honest, we're fifth on bottom. I couldn't care less.
No one's
whatever the bet. No one should be safe. No one should be safe.
And you want to look at that. You want to look at the bench and go, well, look at how strong that bench is. We do it with other teams, don't we? We see other teams and go, there's the difference why they're doing better than us. Look at their options on the bench. And we've had terrible injuries as well this season. We really have bad luck with injuries, but we're getting those players fit again now, and if you can put better quality on the bench, and then you can encourage the likes of Tyler Onyango, Lewis Dobbin to get in. This is a manager who does like to do that. It's up to them. He's not going to do it just for the sake of it. It's up to them. But Jared Branthwaite's another one. I think he's got a tremendous future at the football club. Can he force his way in, or is he a
manager with fresh ideas and fresh way of looking things and a fresh perspective might look at him and go, he's going to play.
So it's dead interesting. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Paul says, big thank you for yesterday. To most of you, Ned was disappointing. Not taking the day off. But big no getting the drink order wrong.
It's professionalism, isn't it?
Finn says, hello, Ellie. Steve Ryan says, at least we have options in midfield and we don't have to be so reliant on Alan and Decore staying fit. Correct. Bobby C says, we have 27 aged over 21 players but can only register 25. Even omitting Gylfi Sigurdsson means one more has to go. Other transfer windows are still open. For example, Turkey doesn't shut till the 8th of February. So who is moved out from the squad? He's got a couple of options to omit, hasn't he? I'd omit Tosin. I really would. He's never going to play. Rondon will be ahead of him. Lewis Dobbin will be ahead of him. Richarlison's ahead of him.
I'd get it.
There's literally no point.
I'd just say to him. I'd just say. I'd be honest. I'd pay Delph off.
Yeah, Delph apparently he's struggling with that. Whatever.
Struggling.
So just say off your pop.
But then I'd do the same with Tosin. I'd come in and I'd just say, listen,
you're never going to play.
You're never playing, and we're deregistering you, and we're taking your squad number off you, and we're giving it to Dele Alli.
Yeah, Dele likes
number 20.
Yeah.
So unlucky fella.
And but Besiktas want you.
And you know what? For the remaining for the season, we'll pay half your wages. And it can be a loan. It can be a loan, and we'll pay half your wages, and they can pay the other half, and everyone's a winner. And you can go and earn your dollars, and at the end of the season, they'll sign you, mate. Because Everton have got to be ruthless. And they've got, listen, if they're half as clever of what they've done with the Dele Alli deal, with someone like that,
they'll do it,
because they're going to have to say you can't play. So it might as well be him.
Yeah, there's no point in that. Terry says, now that we're back in the circle. We're not though, Tez, are we? No. We'll be in the circle later.
Yeah, we'll be in the circle later.
Danny D.
Patron, by the way, today's the 1st of February. It's the perfect time to join Patron, and you can be in the circle of trust. Just saying, best time.
Get in the forum. You get money off the shop if you want merchandise.
And the tickets for the patron night are going to go up tonight as well.
Blue Boy Shoe said, loved our window, upwards and onwards. Connor Dusner says, feels so good to be positive about our club again. It does feel like there's a lot of positivity now, definitely. Here, where was DCL in the training video? Don't know. Maybe they're just taking care of him. Nathan says, lads, what a new perspective we have for the rest of the year. Yeah, definitely. Let's go there.
I know that. Was Pickford in the training video?
I haven't watched it.
Because I know that some of the players were given extra time off.
Yeah.
Especially the ones who played in the Euros. So, and I know a lot of people have been away on holiday. They literally, this was the winter break, wasn't it? Loads have gone away. So Don might have gone away somewhere, and because he was in the Euros, he'll have been given extra days off.
He's been training I don't know. I haven't asked, to be honest. But we'll see. Harvey Amo says the league isn't ready for Dele and Mina practicing dances and training. Listen, I'll
get goals for it.
I'll be quite happy if they come up with all kinds of goal routines, because it means we'll be scoring goals. Yeah. So I'll be quite happy for them to do it. But there you go. Thomas says the R. Kelly opera was boss. We did tell you.
We did get a copyright strike for that.
We did, but
so you go watch that video again, you will not hear that because I've took it off. So there's no more copyright strike. But that's the last time you will hear that opera on Toffee TV. But just search it on YouTube.
Steve P, it's the nail on the head here. And this is someone said something like this to Ped yesterday, and he didn't actually say this, but why do we always bemoan about not having squad depth, and then when we sign players, everyone worries about fitting everyone in? Yeah. These players have been drossed. The best players will play. Yeah. It's right, isn't it? We always want a squad, and we want good players and good options, and we do get precious about certain players, don't we, when we shouldn't do?
Someone said that to me yesterday, like I was being precious.
No, that's what I meant.
I always say Evertonians are always far too concerned with the starting 11. I've said it all season. This squad is crap, and I don't care how many people tell me this squad's good. It's crap.
I don't think it's crap.
I do.
What I think is, crap. I think the
you think the first team's good?
The attitude.
I think it's crap. Well, I include attitude though. I include all the aspects of it. I think this squad is crap. Therefore, when you go scratch the surface and have a couple of injuries, you're done for. Now, we sat here yesterday and we had a conversation about how do we fit Dele Alli and Van der Beek into a team, because we're having a conversation, because that's what we do here. But ultimately, I don't care how we fit them. I don't care if one sits on the bench and the other one plays. It's what's best for the team. And people do get precious. Like yesterday, I think Cam might have said, well, we've got to play this player, this player, and this player. And I said, well, hang on. You've got to play all those players.
Yeah, you do.
Where's our defence?
Yeah.
Where's our midfield? Yeah. I've had people say to me, you've got to play Dom, you've got to play Richarlison, you've got to play Gordon, and you've got to play Gray. And I'm like, well, those four played second half against Villa, we didn't score. So surely you've got to balance a team out and say to all those players, how many times have we said Saturdays one day? They work all week and training. And it's when you get to that, what you've got to do is create an atmosphere where players are fighting all week. We're on a Saturday. There's 11 players who've grafted all week, and they're the best. And then the fellow who's sitting on the bench with that 30 minutes to go knows he's got an opportunity to come on, and he can do something, and he can change it.
I think we all look at it wrong, and I've been as guilty as this as anybody. And probably when I played footy, I was guilty of thinking that it is all about that starting 11. It's all about this, and I think footballers, some do and some don't, but I think overall, professional footballers, especially with the squads they've got, the whole thing is your job. Training every day as good as you can, getting yourself fit is your job. If you're sitting on the bench, it's your job to help your teammates. And if you have to go on for 15 minutes, you go on and do your job. It's the whole thing. And I think Alex Ferguson, at his very best with United, with the likes of Solskjaer and Sheringham and all them, They all knew it was their job, and that's what set them apart. I think Manchester City are really good at that now. They all know.
The whole thing's your job.
Them,
what you consume,
Liverpool are the same.
What you eat, what you drink, how you spend your free time is all part of your job. I've heard this thing of like, oh, they should all, they're just human beings. Do you know what? They're not. For 10 years, they're not human beings. When Jack Grealish and Tingo got caught going out, and they were in training the next day and they missed the next game, and I'd seen people going, well, they're just human. No, they're not. They got training the next day. It's professionalism. It's professionalism, and it's the whole thing the whole time. If you have to give up 10, 12, 13 years, literally, of your life for the rest of your, and that's your legacy for the rest of your life, which it is being a professional football. Do it properly.
Look, you can earn the rewards, but
yeah. Think Ronaldo ever eats pizza or ever as a bevy?
I was listening to, I've been watching that high performance podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Watch it, really good. Loads of different people on it, but Jake Humphries and the sports psychologist. Phil Neville was on it the other day. Oh, yeah. And I was listening to it. He was really good, actually. So, that really good bit about Everton, but when he went to Everton, he said...
Up at 5 every morning? Doing yoga?
Up at 5 every morning. His kids in lockdown. This is just the lockdown. He never allowed them to sleep in later than 8 o'clock in the morning because it was getting up. But he's saying at United, they had this... He talked, the thing I was going to say was Cristiano Ronaldo. He said every day they'd finish training. And he said he'd go out. He said people would say God-given talents, this and all that. Every day after training, Ronaldo would go out. He said the Carrington, it was 3 kilometres round the thing. Every day he'd go out with the ball and do the whole thing, step overs. He said he'd walk it first to try to do these tricks, walk and do. He said people like players are like watching him every day after. He said it'd take him about 45 minutes walking. He'd do the perimeter with the ball. Then the next day in training he'd try it. He said he'd come off, look at YouTube clips, then go and try it.
Don't do it.
And he said they done extra training and stuff because his dad Neville was like, if you're going to do everything, if you're going to commit to it, give it everything. Otherwise, don't go and do something else. He said that's what he told him and Gary, whatever. He said that United, they had that culture. He said when he comes to Everton, he said he'd just get in early and do stuff. He said, and he was called Teacher's Pet, The Grass, Moyes' little...
That was just Van der
Meijden, and a few other names. He said, but he said, I'd always do it. I'd do an hour after training, and and then Kale started doing it. Arteta started doing it. Jolie Lescott, Andy Johnson. He said all of a sudden we had this culture that Moyes wanted to change. He said, and that's why we were able to do so well. He said it goes with certain things.
It is culture.
But when you think of like Ronaldo, he's 36, he's still amazing.
Of course he is.
Because he doesn't drink cokes and he doesn't do this. And
water.
He knows that.
Sleep. Exercise. Yoga.
Neville was saying he had up every day in his footy career 2 hours sleep every single day. Every day. And he'd be like...
Kenny Dalglish, right? Kenny Dalglish never got out of bed. When he wasn't playing. And he'd get his wife to just give him all the stuff, bring him to bed, because he just said the rest is the most important part of being a footballer. It's what you don't do. Yeah, and this is their lives.
That's what you have to
and we don't see all this, but then we let them get away with it. We let them, when we can't figure out why players are not doing what we want them to do, or like I had stories of like I won't say his name, but I had story of an Everton player who had a terrible injury record, but apparently all he had was Burger King and McDonald's and all kinds. Now, because he was fit, he was in training every day, he didn't have any weight on him, but all he did was eat fast food, so he was eating food, it's poison. It's poison. So therefore, when he got injured and he couldn't go to the gym and all that, it was poison in his body. His body couldn't recover quicker because you're putting what you put in your. I learned a lot of this when I did the marathon like 10 years ago. It's when you eat, you're eating fuel. So you're fueling up, aren't you? Yeah. So football.
You did sound like Andy Tate then. You are eating a fuel.
You are eating a fuel.
Yeah.
No, but and that's what footballers got to do. So it's all about. And I think this is what what Lampard I think will bring to it, is this this modern professionalism of he expects certain things.
Well, Rio Ferdinand was talking about him on again. I've watched with COVID. I've watched a lot of these podcasts, but he was saying he saw Lampard doing extra training every day. He was like 17, 18, and he said, I was thinking, I need to be doing that. Then why is he doing it? Because he's getting, and like some of the lads are like, oh, why are you trying to get better? Well, you think
I
you're
think
boss, do you? He said Ferdinand started doing
it. And funny enough, and I think that's where Dele Alli's gone completely wrong.
Yes, yeah.
I think he got to a certain. I think he's got to 22, and he's thinking, I'm at my peak. But people like Phil Neville, who wasn't a great footballer and had to graft, and Gary Neville said this himself.
Tim Cahill, I loved Tim Cahill. He was fantastic for us.
How do people think like we see all these videos of like Tim Cahill, how we and Ronaldo, how they hold themselves in the air. Yeah. But it's all they're doing. They do all these exercises to make sure they've got all that spring in the legs. And the body is a certain thing, and the core and all this.
Like Cahill's still amazing. Looks amazing now, doesn't he? 43, whatever he is, 42, 43.
You get into it, don't you? You get into that way of living.
Some do.
Do you know what? There must be something. There's something in my brain that doesn't have that. Like, and has never had that. But that's the difference. That's what we talk about. Good players and being professional. And people who make it and people who don't make it. They have that switch in their head, which is like, it's time to go to work. Yeah. You know, people who work on like mad jobs that require them to do it all the time and they love it and all that, then they'll do it 24/7 and they probably go through wives and kids and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? It's like they have that switch in their head. It's like, it's work mode. I don't have that in my head, I'll admit. I don't have that in my head. Like the idea, I want to go to the gym, but the idea of going from my house to the gym is just like, it's just the feet.
It's not the thing, is it? You've either got it or you haven't. Exactly. But they have to have it. It's their job. And
no,
hopefully,
I think when you say they have to have it, they don't get to being professional footballers without having that.
But what did he do?
But it's when they get to being a professional footballer, some of them stop. Some of them stop, or some of them keep going to all the way. So, and you just said Ronaldo's the ultimate case of it. Ronaldo does that sort of with Rio Ferdinand, where he was playing table tennis and Rio Ferdinand beat him. And he got a comp on him 3 weeks later. He had him another game and he beat him because all for 3 weeks he'd been practicing.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's what sets them apart, those top players, the winners. So hopefully Frank Lampard will bring that professionalism, will bring that will to work. That's one of his non-negotiables. You should watch the thing when he talks. It's really good. Scott says, good to have you back, Baz. Well done yesterday, lads, for the marathon session. Jake Ablett says, would you take Idrissa Gana Gueye on a 2-year deal in the summer?
If the terms were right, I probably would. But
I mean, I'd like to see us get a younger
version. I'd like to see us get a 22-year version of it.
Definitely. Lines, he says, afternoon lads, fellow Blues. I think we've had a good window, lads, although we could have done with a couple more. My optimism is back and I'm sure Frank will sort the wheat from the chaff. Can't wait now to see Dele and Donny in royal blue, onwards and upwards.
Dele Alli's put a statement out and I just want to read a little bit of it. I think this is interesting. It's for Spurs. But he said, I want to give a special mention to Mauricio and his staff for their trust and guidance in the early part of my career at Spurs, which gave me the confidence and platform to show what I can do. I just think that's interesting because he's the only person he's mentioned, and that shows that
he hasn't had anything with the rest.
The rest of them have probably maybe treated him. And I'm not saying he's a special case, but but maybe players do need an arm around them, and they do need to be nurtured, and they do need someone to look after them. And I think that's one of the things that probably attracted them to come to Everton. Yeah. It's Frank Lampard saying, "You will get that at this club. You will be." Not. And by the way, this is not like you will be a special case. You don't have to train hard. This is. If you train hard and you do the things, we'll help you. We'll put you in the team in the right place, and we'll build this team around you.
You see that?
For some players, that's such an important thing.
Well, it is, because I mean, let's be honest. He could have gone to Newcastle. He could have gone. Hang on. Newcastle are interested with big money. But
he thought he was going to have to compete with the Wobie, though, didn't he?
Yeah. But that's what you're thinking. That option is there. But it's like, do I want to go there for that big money, or do I actually want to get back to what I want to be, which is on what I was? And hopefully Frank Lampard can do it. Mike Simpson's just joined Patreon. Nice one, Mike. Much appreciated.
You know what? I tell you what, though. You know when it's good. You know when things are going well. When Holly Willoughby is putting stuff about Everton on Instagram.
Holly is?
She's all over me. She's put hang on. She's put a thing for Lampard and put Everton and stuff. And now his missus has as well. So we're literally converting the loose women into Evertonians. They're all running in the Everton training gear.
Yannick says, perfectly said, Baz, on taking the pressure off the defence with a bit more attack and talent. We can't fix an entire defence in one window, and even if we did, it'd not be able to fix our inability to create goals. Yes, Holly. The same players were fairly good defensively for Carlo, so have the capability to be better defensively. Creativity has been our Achilles heel. Hopefully the signings will help. Dalton Thomas says, never see any defensive set-piece routines in training. You never would, though. Because that's
because the secret.
Yeah, that's just you're never, ever going to see that. Jake says, Baz, you're still fuming over Brentford fans not taking the full allocation. Done me up like an absolute kipper there, Kane. Beaut. John says, would you take the FA Cup and relegation? No FA Cup and mid-table. No FA Cup and mid-table, mate.
No relegation ever.
No, never.
Sorry.
Ever. Richie Dean says, it's good to be positive as the last few months have been dire. However, are you really happy that nothing's changed at the top?
No, to be honest, you can only take one step at a time, and I don't think that can be taken overnight. I want to see Everton Football Club get to the summer, be in the Premier League, and then we'll sort all that out. But that stuff needs to be sorted out. You know, it has to be sorted out, otherwise, because I was thinking about this yesterday. I heard like them say on Sky Sports, Bill Kenwright went down to London, was in London, thrashed out the deal, and then, you know, you heard him say, well, he went and sorted Patterson out and all this kind of thing, and I thought, some people will love that. But then I thought to myself, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Director of football isn't in the club to negotiate deals as such. He's in the club. A director of football is in the club to create a structure. So it's to create a structure for the whole football club so it works. It's not about negotiating a deal.
No.
It's about, and you know, as I said, Bill Kenwright has negotiated some really good deals at Everton. No issue with that at all. But it's about going forward now, bringing someone in who can create a structure, this football club, alongside Frank Lampard, which takes the club in a direction. And that's going to take a young, hungry, you know, like a version of Frank Lampard in a suit, essentially. Now, obviously, Tim Cahill's been mentioned. I don't think Tim Cahill's at that stage of his development yet. Very much like if you look at someone like Leighton Baines is in the stage of his coaching. You know, it's that kind of thing. So I do think there's a place for him at the club, but I think Everton have to go out now and find someone, and I've said it before, and you've said it, Dan Ashworth is the perfect person. But in the summer, there might be a lot of people trying to take him. But we need someone like that at their club who's young, hungry, has got the energy to want to revolutionise this football club. And for the owner, and I've seen a bit of his interview yesterday. I haven't seen the full thing because yesterday was just mad. But the owner to go, because I seen him, and I was actually a little bit annoyed with what he said in a clip I did. He said, oh, the fans haven't been patient and I haven't been patient. I thought, no, mate, you haven't been patient. We're just a byproduct of you not being patient.
We've been patient for 27 years. To be fair.
You're the one who is.
And you're the one who can affect.
Yeah, you're the one who's let this club go like the way it has. So in terms of have no structure, you have to sack people all the time because you don't give the managers a structure to help them. You're not helping your manager.
Yeah, the club's failed managers. The managers haven't really.
So Frank Lampard is there. He's an up and coming, good, hungry manager.
Let's help.
Give him all the help, which means get a structure at the football club, which means young players do come through, which means everything's working to get Everton moving 3 points on a Saturday.
And moving in the right direction.
Because that's all that matters. Yeah. That's all that matters is creating the structure, get Everton 3 points. So we've got massive work to do off the pitch. Nothing has been solved. What we've done is we've got the footballing side solved because we had to. The other side now has to be dealt with and it has to be sorted by the summer. It has to be sorted by the summer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cam Spears says, take care of Dele for us. Hopefully he'll take care of us. Hakan says, stop being so positive, guys. We ain't used to it. Yeah. So there you go. So, yeah, the window is closed. It's been a good window, I think. It hasn't been perfect. That midfield, another midfielder and a centre back would have been perfect, but we can't solve every issue in one.
No, a DM would have done, wouldn't it?
That would have been great. But
right, we're going to do
that like button. Thank you very much. 1,200 of you
videos for Patreon and stuff. Yeah. And we'll be back at 5 o'clock on Patreon. Today, if you're not a patron, today's the best day. The first of the month is the best day to join Patreon because you get the whole month.
Do it.
Because that's how it works. When you pay, you pay for the whole of the month. So it's always best to join on the first of the month, and then you get the whole of the month, and then or you can pay for the year and get it all. It's worth it. It's worth it. I guarantee it's worth it. But I was remember on Thursday when I done the live, and I told people on Thursday, don't join Patreon till Tuesday. I was nice, and I said it. So if you were thinking about it on Thursday when I had Friday, sorry, when I had my epic hour and a half session, that was, free, as I said at the time, and you were thinking about joining, today's the day to join. So we'll be back at 5 o'clock over on Patreon. Thanks for watching. See you later. Dele Alli wave.